it was a game changer for us because at that point, once this yard came in, a hope came into our life.
We didn't really know what we wanted, so your input was very valuable, but we had a general idea, right? And we knew what we didn't want. And I remember you kind of brought up a good memory. You were talking about getting the original ideas from us, and then when you came out to do all the measuring and whatnot, I was actually blown away because I was thinking how, it's got to be really precise. It's got to be spot on. And then you came out with your tape, you took a couple measurements, and then you said you were all done. And I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, okay, it better be good, because otherwise we'll stop you from the get-go. But the whole experience from when you came out, you got our ideas, you took the measurements, you took them back to the shop or to the office, and you guys were able to draw up the plans. And we actually, from the start of the plans that you guys provided for us, any changes that we wanted from those, I felt at ease. It was a great experience with that. Even I remember there were 4 guys that came out and put this all together.
And to back up, he's way ahead. When we first met you, you met us at kind of a junction point in our life. So, we had certain things, certain remodels we wanted to do on our home that we always knew we wanted to. And then, unfortunately, we had life impact, and, we had lost our daughter, and we didn't know how to move forward with anything. The one thing I did have was a decor store and flower shop that I was doing in honor of my daughter, and everyone was picking up flowers from my home and coming to my home, and I didn't know how to even have it be an inviting situation for me. The other thing I had was a deck with no stairs, and that was one of the original, prior to my daughter, things that we were always like, one day we're going to get stairs on our yard. And then now all of a sudden we had a whole backyard that was emotional and had tons of memories. I remember meeting with you. I remember being so direct with you and saying, I don't want any sales pitches, like I'm a broken woman. I need your help. I can't even thank you for the heart that you brought to my home.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you dealt with me, who didn't even know what perfect was yet. I didn't know how to even start to breathe. And I wanted my family to be able to have a new normal, but also have her with me. And you did that. The Western Timber did that whole thing for us. The stairs. I remember that was I was so excited to have my family be able to come out through my kitchen and down to my backyard. And my son, because the only other way out to our backyard was through the dog area. I didn't enjoy that. Through designing with you and being scared of, what was going to work and what was going to help us, you were there the whole step. We had a hot tub. We really wanted to enjoy it. We bought it with the best intentions, and then we discovered that my husband didn't like coming outside and having all the neighbors. So our house is on a hill, and we're one of those few houses that our front door and our back door are both ground level. So that means we have a really big slope. So every neighbor can see into our backyard. And so I could never get him to go in the hot tub because he didn't want to go till nighttime, but then nighttime somehow somebody was going to see us. It was just like, why did we get this expensive and pour cement, and what are we going to do? And so when I met with you, I was like, okay, I need you to, without making us look like we have a cave, give my husband some privacy, but make this look classy. And once you designed that and did it into my stairs, my exciting stairs, my husband started hot tubbing and started enjoying it with us, and he'd sit out there, and it actually helped improve his health. And he joins all of us. I mean, we're only getting older. So, it was a wonderful thing to be able to have that come together. So thank you for that beautiful privacy. We got to enjoy it so much. Yeah. Through the process, we'd had other companies involved. We hadn't had good at all
Experiences.
It was from damage to our yard to over-promising, overcharging, abandoning us, and you promised. And I remember being skeptical. I was like, okay, and you delivered on all of it. And your guys were so professional. And it was a game changer for us because at that point, once this yard came in, a hope came into our life. Something that we started feeling, not that you ever want to feel guilty when you lose your child, but it helped us to do something with her. And I even specifically asked you to dedicate this backyard, dedicate this building that you built to her. And you went and on your own time built a special plaque for our daughter and put it onto this. And I look at it every single time I'm doing the yard. And so the fact that you took my heart, our spirits, everything, and you made this work, there's not enough thank yous to tell you. And then from there, we turned around and we were able to comfortably sell flowers in our home. And then I had my decor shop, and I've had fun decorating in here. And it was funny because I had tons of customers that were like, how do you even decorate a backyard? What do you do? And I brought it home, and my husband and I said, we know exactly what to do. And we took pictures and we advertised it, and it took our sales up, and it helped us now with our business. So now personally we've got a gain, and business-wise we have a gain, and then that doesn't even talk about the family and your family that comes over. Maybe you can cover that.
Yeah. The initial meaning behind all of this was our main motivation to get something to where we felt we could move forward and move on after what happened to our daughter. And we knew that we could enjoy this part of our home, our beautiful backyard. But like Aubree was just saying, it was set up in such a way, we called it the fishbowl, right? And we're not very open people, and especially with what happened to Cadee, we felt like we just wanted to kind of huddle in more. And so we found ourselves just sticking inside the house, and we knew this was no way to live, right? So one of the biggest reasons that we got the whole structure was really so we could get outside of the house, keep living our lives, but still have our privacy, right? And all of that worked. It worked so much, in fact, that our family comes over, right? Like we've told you before, family comes over.
We can't get them to stop coming over.
Yeah. Well, we can't get them to leave, right? It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're trying to tell everybody to keep it down because, the neighbors don't want parties going on until 1.
The other problem is we can't get anybody to go on a double date with us outside of our home.
Yeah.
Because they want to come out here in the backyard and set up the hammocks and watch TV on the screen.
Yeah.
And they don't want to, we have to have meals brought here. I don't even know the last time we've been able to get them to go there because everybody loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
They feel spoiled.
So you got to take the bad with the good, I guess. So now we're kind of confined to our own backyard.
The other thing that I feel really lucky about is we have a college student. He just graduated that lives with us, and of course he could be right out the door to move out and say, I'm out of here. I got to go have an independence. But instead, I found that last weekend he had all of his coworkers, bosses, everybody over here. And originally it was going to be like we'll barbecue and then we'll send the wives home and we'll play poker. And hours later they were in our backyard and movies were going and they were making dessert and nobody wanted to leave back here, and everybody wanted to know when and what time in your life you get to be able to have this kind of situation, including, decor ready to go and just be able to relax. And so, our son's like, I've got the best of both worlds. I'm still here with you guys, and I get to have people come over here, and it felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And good. And so I was actually telling him, can you imagine if we would have had that growing up,
Yeah.
So it was good to see him. So, it's personally helped his life. He has his friends out here. He has different events he has. We have our events.
Yeah.
Family is always here.
It's also a show-off piece, right?
The neighbors.
The neighbors, everybody's jealous. They honestly, we hear, we're not very social people, but we'll say the gratuitous neighborly hi every once in a while, right? But that's it. We don't go any deeper than that. But once we do start opening up to the neighbors, one of the very first things they say is, I can't wait to see your backyard. Does this mean I can go and see your backyard? And it's like, yeah, sure. I thought you had a nice place too, but yeah, we'll have a barbecue or something like that. It always comes up.
Well, the other funny thing is we've been asked to host like 5 dog parties.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably
Yeah,
been the
dog birthdays
funnest
are a
thing we've
big
ever had.
thing.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But literally, like last fall, we had her first little thing, and our friends brought their dogs, and it turned into this. We got phone calls of, you could go to the park, but we got to experience Sky's birthday party, and they're decorating their streamers in here and popping up cakes, and I was like, we're now hosting dog birthday parties at our home. And so that's another new thing that just started. So, and that's actually probably our funnest thing. So, I wouldn't have ever said that before. So,
Buddy takes after, we call her son Buddy. He takes after mom and dad the most. And so we're just very private people. And
well, to back up, he wasn't private. He was best friends with his sister. And that was a huge... There's not even a word for it. A hole doesn't even come close to it. They were best friends, and they were lucky enough to be siblings. People can't understand what they can't understand. You thought Ed had a hard time with the hot tub. He couldn't get anybody to understand. He lost his best friend. And so he would start to try to relate to people, and he'd go out, and kids wanted to do rambunctious things, and he just didn't want to. And so... after we got the hot tub and you built the screening for it and we got the yard back going, and of course high schoolers can be super mean about, everything looking pristine, and it all passed all the high schoolers' opinions. They loved it back here. So that opened up a new world for him. So as he was fighting depression and being lonely, and, we don't have a ton of friends with high schoolers, he was able to feel comfortable with inviting friends over here and helping himself through his healing process. We all knew we'd never move on, but we'd have to move with this. That's probably what this thing has done the most, is it's helped us feel comfortable in our own home and privacy. So we planted 2 special trees on each side on purpose of this thing with your dedication of the Cadee plaque. And they're both her favorite trees. And the crazy thing is she had a thing with hummingbirds, and I can't tell you how many times we sit under her and even the hummingbirds fly in here, and they just sit with us. And we have plenty of films, and so we know we've just been truly blessed, and that you've created an environment for us that we can thrive, and we can love each other, and that we can be together, and that our son can feel comfortable. Like I said, thank you doesn't cover it for us. Thank you for helping us grow and come through something and be able to look forward to things. It means more than you'll know.
I think that connection is really what made it all work too, right? Yeah. You truly understood us. You truly listened to what we wanted. Hopefully we weren't too much of a pain, right? You had some great ideas. Even the cantilever I remember that was one of the things you were talking about, where to place this post, but we still wanted the pergola piece here to extend so far that way, right? Yeah. And then you're like, oh, we'll just do a cantilever. And I was like,
and I remember,
wow.
If you would have listened to Ed at the time, because our life was so guarded and blocked, and metaphorically we'll say let light in, we would have literally kind of almost built a fortress there. And when we talked to you, you kept going. You were very patient about the situation, and you were, you'd hear us, but then we'd give you a mixed signal. And so you walked through it with us patiently, and you actually tweaked this thing to where you found Ed's biggest concern of the fishbowl, and you put in something on that side. And then, like I said, we would have just kept blocking, but you let light in. You, through time, as the years have gone by for us, and we've been able to do the process of healing, I can't imagine now if this was a dark den. So through you being patient and guiding us, and not just saying, well, you're giving me mixed signals or you guys are crazy. You were patient and kind, and it's helped us. I can't even explain it. So it's all in the right areas. I wouldn't want it any different. Even down to, you put in those trellises. We had all these ideas about hammocks and blocking out the neighbors up there and the stairs and the thing, and instead of letting it become something that could have just held us back longer, you enhanced our life. Thank you.
Thank you. Even that install crew. I remember those guys.
Okay, best I've ever had.
The absolute best. Yeah.
I think about them a lot and think, can I hire them for a private job? Because they were just that efficient.
Yeah.
So they were really good.
Yeah, but even after that, them putting on the shingles, right? I think the finishing touch was the shingles, right? That guy, he's got to be a subcontractor or something like that.
Well, and the last thing I want to add is that
great.
We talked about how our life started, and like you can have a plan and picture your kids getting married, and then all of a sudden have your life changed, and then have someone like you kindly come into our life and help us grow and get to where we need to. But even just the last couple of years, the one thing you don't know about us is that in 3 years we've had 5 major surgeries, and so between the two of us, and this place out here actually, so the doctors, the first thing they always say is, make sure you're out and moving about, but not too much, but you're in a positive environment. It's funny because this out here, that's the other thing I wanted to say, it's allowed us to stay healthy. It's allowed us to be able to still bring people here when we can't get mobile somewhere.
Yeah.
Where we can still socialize, where we can still enjoy the outdoor, double date, whatever we want to do with, the limitations we have. And so that's something I never even saw that would help us. Like you said, you never know what life's going to bring you, but this has just enhanced and been such a light for us in so many ways. And it's still going. That's what we need to call this, our wellness center. Literally, like, this is our wellness center, because we have always been active mountain people, and like I said, life has changed us the last couple of years, and so the only thing I felt was missing was a waterfall, because everything, like, this is literally a wellness center. It's perfect. I mean, we just could a retreat, sit out here, and the best thing that happened, our neighbor put in the most fancy waterfall on that side, and it's always going, and so I'm like, sweet, and so now we have the setup and waterfall, and we're good. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, really. And also I want to say it's like in the summertime, something to look forward to, right? Long winter. It's been a couple long winters. Yeah. And then finally, the first time we get to basically come outside, get all the leaves, raked up, take all the furniture covers off, set the furniture out, it's awesome.
And we pushed it till November. We actually got custom heaters that have fans and remotes. And when we come out here, so all through October and actually almost till Thanksgiving, we have our game nights out here and movie nights. And we have special chairs that do a certain way that you can just bundle up. I'm telling you, we have maximized our time in here. We really like it. Oh, yeah, it's been wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it
And you have that fan you guys installed, and it picks up the heat, the things, and they just sit perfect, and nobody's uncomfortable. Thank you for what you've done.
Yeah.
Couldn't have asked better.
It's kind of reciprocal.
Yeah.
That's
definitely.
a good relationship.
Definitely is.
Cool.
I like one of the best things I like is showing off, showing this thing off. 2 years ago, it 2 years ago? I had my boss out for dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all the way from Long Beach.
Wow.
Yeah, this actually became their custom spot. So these guys were used to high-end, like, Ruth steakhouses. And then they got the experience to come over here because he had surgery. And they looked in our backyard and they said, wait, is that a putting green? And is that a sand bunker? And then all of a sudden they looked over and saw the pavilion. And they were like, what have you been holding out? And so we let them come down here. And then they saw the smokers and everything. And they were like, okay, we're not going to Ruth's Steakhouse. And I was like, well, wait, we don't want to do the cooking and all the entertaining. Yeah. And we had to that night. The bosses, big bosses came. And the funny thing is it's made its word around about how we had them here. And Ed runs a local office, and they're always bent out of shape that they cannot come to our backyard. that they've all hosted summer parties, and Ed's like, well, and so it just became this big word of mouth about our backyard and about giving them the opportunity to eat off the smoker and being in here. And so that was also something I didn't see between the dog parties and Ed's work party. Yeah. So I really mean it, how social. And if you just heard him, he likes to brag now about this place. This was the guy who wanted a fortress.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what a 180, right?